man, it's just really been getting to me. So I'm like, okay, 4 agreements, don't take anything personal. Because it's not personal. It's their problem. It's not mine, you know?
Yeah, it's almost always some form of projection. Either if it's like a vegan thing, people don't want to ethically see the argument or see it, so they turn it around. Or, as I'm sure you and I have both experienced, as we've become more successful on social media, more successful in business, other people that mirrors back to them that they're not where they want to be, or they're not as successful as they'd like to be, and maybe they don't even believe that they can. So instead of them trying to level themselves up, they try and pull everybody else down. And I think we always know this, or at least you and I do. For people listening, the more successful you become, the more people will hate you for it. If you are, you know, just homeless living on the side of the road, nobody's going to be rooting against you, at least to my knowledge. But if you're at the top, whatever the top looks like for you, even if it's just like having a healthy, happy family, people are going to have problems with that. So I think it's important for us, especially as very public facing content creators, to kind of take that deep breath and, yeah, rely on the 4 agreements, and not take things personally. Because if somebody has something nasty to say, that's just a reflection of them. And one way that I look at this is like, how much of my day or my time do I have to go spend trying to pull other people down? I don't have any time for that. I'm either trying to build people up or build myself up. I'm not trying to go find somebody else and be like, you suck because you're more successful than me. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, with that, that's our wonderful intro to another episode of the Vegans Who Lift podcast, brought to you by your favorite vegan co-hosts. We have Brooke Sellers, aka Miss Meatless Muscle, myself, John Thomas, aka the Bodybuilding Vegan. And we're going to talk a bit about the 4 agreements. We've already jumped into one of them. If you guys haven't read this book, it is phenomenal. I've bought it for like 30 plus people. If you don't have $7 and you really need this book, DM me. I'll take care of you. I've kept that agreement open for years now, and about 30 people have taken me up on it. If you don't have $7, you might really need this book. So DM me. I'll send it to you. I sent it to Brooke about 3 years ago. She just read it, which is great. I think perfect timing. Maybe this is when she needed it. I needed it 3 years ago. If you're listening to this, you need it now. We're not getting endorsed for this. I just sincerely think it's a good book. But Brooke will have a more up to date knowledge and experience with it since she just did it. Mine was a bit of time ago. Anywho, before we do all that, I've talked this entire time. Brooke, outside of the trolls, how are we doing today? How are we feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm having a good day. Energy is good, and I'll take it, you know?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. No, I'm fucking phenomenal. I've got some things that could be trying to pull me down, but I'm not going to let that happen. And I'll jump into that in a moment. I do want to say, maybe this is weird. This is just me being honest. Well, one, the lighting is kind of weird for me. So if you guys are watching me, I look yellow. I'm not really yellow, but I probably should have moved this, but it's too late now. We're already going. But Brooke looks great. Not that you don't normally look great, but you just look very. I'm not gonna lie. When your little thing popped up on the bottom before I added you to the stage, you just looked like happy, smiling. I know you were eating, but maybe that's why. It's good. But you look and you sound good, dude. So that makes me happy. I don't feel like we're killing you on this episode. I know you're
Thanks.
like
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks out right now.
Yeah, about 2. Yeah, I'll be 2 weeks out tomorrow. Hopefully. We'll see.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm quite ready. So I have a backup show for 3 weeks. I really wanted to do the one in 2 weeks because it's here in Atlanta. So it would just take out all the stress of traveling, and the 3 week out competition is in Chicago. So I'll have to fly. I have a friend I can stay with though. So that'll save me a little bit on a hotel, but it's all the traveling and timing. It just really throws things for a loop during peak week. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. I mean, of course, some days are worse than others, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. It's this whole prep has been so much fun. And it's just been a totally different experience than the first time I did it. And I'm just so glad and like just grateful. You know, it's like my body fought me for so long. And now it's like just working with me. And I've been really, really healthy this prep. I'm at my lowest weight ever, like crazy. I'm like so lean and I still have a period, um,
Wow.
which is crazy. And I've done all my nutrition myself. Like that's why I love my coach is he's just like, you know, you do your nutrition, you know, vegan nutrition better than I do. So yeah, it's just been a really, really good experience. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm happy. I think I've seen, I keep up with your channel on Instagram. You guys should check it out if you're not already, because she posts all of her updates in there. You've actually inspired me. I think I'm going to do the same for a bulk here soon. Um,
Yeah.
but I've seen how hard you're working. I know where your macros are at. I know where your cardio's at, and you're kind of candid in there. Sometimes you're like, guys, this has been a hard fucking week, and so I know you've been pushing for this, and nobody can take that away from you. No person, no troll, no placing, no judge can take away the hard work you've done. And I think that is one of the beautiful sides of competing, is just learning how fucking hard you can push. So very proud of you. I know this isn't your first rodeo, is not the right word. That's not very vegan, but not your first show, but definitely something you've worked really hard for. And I think that's something you should be proud of.
Yes, I'm so proud. Like so proud. I am just really proud of myself for like really pulling myself out of one of the darkest times of my life when I was so sick and then
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm on top of the world right now. It's just everything's working out, everything's good. I'm on a major upswing, so I am just riding the wave while I can. I know eventually this wave's going to crash and that's okay. I'll be smarter and stronger when that next wave crashes, and I'm just enjoying riding it while I can.
Oh. Well, like I got right here, this too shall pass. And my dad used to always say that usually when I was sick or something, I kind of use it both ways. We're on top of that wave right now. So let's take
Yeah.
some breaths forward there, enjoy it, realize you won't be this lean or be feeling this great forever. So really savor these moments. So good for you, dude. Um,
Thanks.
for me, it's been a busy week. Tuesday, I had a no events day. So I've been trying to schedule those to allow myself a little bit of a breather, not do like 5 podcasts or take on new work events. And Tuesday ended up being move from one Airbnb to another, um, go donate blood because I wanted to do that. Get on a business call with Ben Mitchell that I forgot about. Thank goodness Allie told me a story about seeing an Instagram story of Ben Mitchell 5 minutes before our call. So as I'm unloading the car at the second Airbnb, on the call with Ben, I've already scheduled an emergency dental appointment because my tooth was wiggling and it was an implant that I got done in February that should not be wiggling. And so that was the no events day. And they told me on the phone, if the crown's loose, it's like 150 bucks. If not, we'll talk about other options. And I was like, okay, it's going to work out this time. It's just going to be the crown. And then when he's in there wiggling things, and you can read people's energies, and I could tell he doesn't want to tell me what he's about to tell me. And he's like,
Oh no.
implant failed, $1,700. We can fix it. And that was actually less than what I paid to get it done at UF back in February. And I'm not going to be in Florida for probably another couple months. And they're like, it's only going to get worse. So, you could wait a little bit, but we really recommend it. And I'm like, good Lord. All right. I wasn't expecting that. And then they're like, oh, yeah. And you can't go to the gym for 3 days. And you got to wear this retainer for the next 6 weeks and take it out every time you do anything other than water. If it's tea, if it's coffee, if it's food, take it out, rinse it, put it back in. I'm like, all right, let me do the math. There's
Holy
6 meals a
shit.
day, 7 days in a week, times 6 weeks. Like, okay, I got to take this thing out like 400 times at least. So and then I was in pain. I've never had this before. They had to actually stitch me up after taking it out because I guess I was bleeding a lot. Um, Bodybuilder things, good blood flow. Yeah, so that was the day that I was supposed to like relax and recover and get ready for the week. And my body's like, we just donated blood. We moved twice. And now you took out a tooth. Like, what the hell are you doing, dude? I'm not going to lie. I came home and I set a stopwatch for 60 seconds and I bitched and moaned and complained and had my pity party temper tantrum. And then I found some gratitude. And I've been listening to Alex Hormozy. If you're a business owner, besides doing the Vegans Who Lift Coaching Academy, I recommend you listen to his stuff. He's on YouTube for free. And he said the biggest cheat code in life is being able to find a way or a reason to stay in a good mood, no matter what life throws your way. So what I did is I played out in my head, I just got this tooth done. That's in universe 1. And I go home and Allie's waiting to hear the story. Or universe 2, I get the tooth done. I go home, I open the door and Allie's dead on the floor. And so with those options, I will gladly pick universe 1. The day where I had to spend $1,700, at least there was a dentist. At least somebody would see me. At least I had the money on my credit card to cover it. And my girlfriend's not dead on the floor. So for those reasons, I'm not giving myself an A+ rating. I'll give myself like a B-, but I found ways to stay in a good mood and positive for the most part. A little bit frustrating because I got some financial things coming up that I was hoping to have money saved up for, but at the end of the day, that's just a game. Finding more money is a game, and finding a way to stay grateful is also a game. So that was something that I used kind of as a test, a challenge. Like, how can I stay in a good mood throughout all of this? Because I know this isn't what I originally wanted, but anywho, it's been done. And I think I found a good dentist. They explained the normal implants have like very small threading. And they're like, we used to use these. They'd fail like 3 out of every 100 times. And that's not acceptable for us. So now we use these ones with really big screw threads so that they hold in and stay solid. So anywho, long story short, kids, make sure you floss your teeth. I didn't do it for a while. I thought I was fine. And turns out you should floss. They tell you for a reason.
Wow. Yeah, that was a big challenge. I mean, props to you really for changing your perspective, because I certainly would have been the same way. Oh my gosh, that would have thrown me for a loop. That's a really, really annoying thing. I mean, moving alone, I would have been so frustrated. I hate moving. But then, oh my gosh, dealing with that, dishing out $1,700, the retainer thing. So yeah, props to you. But it's like, everything is perspective, like big perspective. This is a privileged problem, like it could always be worse. It can always be worse.
Yeah, exactly. The lady at the front who had originally talked to me on the phone was like, it might be the $150 option. She's like, I'm so sorry it wasn't that. Like, we feel so bad. And I'm like, I'm just, ultimately in the universe where dentists don't exist, I'm living in the better universe. So that's my way of viewing it. I don't want anybody to ever feel like they have to minimize what they're going through or like not feel sad if they feel sad. Sadness is a human emotion. Revel in it and enjoy it as best you can. But for me, I think I do my best work when I'm happy, or at least positive, good mood. And so like I wanted to play that game to get back to that good mood as quickly as possible. So proud of myself for that. The retainer is a little bit annoying, but I'll live. It's 6 weeks. If you can do prep, I can do the retainer. Like we'll figure it out. Any other? I'm trying to think. I'm still in Utah for another month. Allie and I are loving it here. I might move here. I got to come back in 6 months for the next dental thing. I mean, well, I don't think we're going to sign a lease anywhere anytime soon, but we might come here for like 3 months. I don't know. Alex really wants to check out Colorado. We're going to spend a month in North Carolina. I don't know. We'll I don't know. I'm just really enjoying being able to move whatever I want. So it's kind of cool. So
very cool. Yeah. My mom was dying to see Utah, and all the national parks there. She's a big national park person. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we could make a trip out of it. That'd be fun. So it's worth it. You think it's worth like making a whole trip out of it?
Yeah, I mean, if you can do what we're doing, like get an Airbnb for a couple weeks so you can see everything and you got your kitchen, you don't really have to get you got a washer and dryer, and it's honestly night per night about as expensive. Like we have a very I'll just talk numbers because it's fair to talk numbers. We have a very nice Airbnb. It's a basement or like first level out of a 3-story building. So the mom and I believe her child lives upstairs. But we don't really run into them. And it is so like everything in here, like coffee, the Keurig maker, like a 12-cup Keurig, everything in here is like brand new, super nice. And it's like 2,800 for 31 days. And I'm like,
Not
that's
bad.
a little bit more than you would pay for like, and it's a 2-bedroom. We're not even really using the second bedroom. So if somebody wanted to come visit, they could, but it's a 2-bedroom and it's not much more expensive than if you were, like, somewhere nice paying for a hotel each night, I think, probably about the same range. You can definitely get cheaper. Our last place was a lot cheaper. Um, but in Utah, there's just so much to see. If you like hiking, there's tons of hikes. We did when, Alex and Melissa were here with us, we did 4 vegan restaurants in a week, and there's, like, 8 more. So there's so much vegan food. I'm glad they're gone so I can go back on my diet. But tons
That's
of hiking.
awesome.
Bryce is a national park out here, Zion. Yeah, it's not humid like Florida or Georgia.
Oh, that's amazing. That's what I
And I
need.
know it can snow a bit in the winter, so I don't know how like winter time will want to be here, but this might be one of the spots. Like Ali and I are kind of talking about it. Like there's advantages and disadvantages everywhere you live. Florida, it doesn't get cold or like snow, but you got to deal with hurricanes. Places like Phoenix, no hurricanes, but it gets really hot. Utah, I don't think it gets as hot, and it's very beautiful and it's mountainous, but it does snow. So we might just kind of move around every 3 to 6 months to avoid like the heat of Phoenix or the snow in Utah or the hurricanes in Florida. That way we kind of just be in the cool places, literally and
Yeah,
figuratively, whenever that happens. Um, but
that's a
yeah,
good plan.
it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And like she's right here next to me working, editing, and like
Aw.
we can just work from home and then go on walks or do whatever to kind of break up the monotony of it. Normally go to the gym, but I can't do that for a few days. But yeah, it's good. Anyways, I feel like I'm rambling a bit, so I'm gonna pass the torch back to you if you're ready to jump into the 4 agreements. So I'm curious because you just read it. Tell me what you thought it was gonna be like before you before you read anything. Like what were your preconceived notions here, and did it live up to those or
I would
didn't?
say preconceived. I've read a lot of self-help books. Like I've
Okay.
been, reading a lot. And I kind of expected something similar. Except for I found this one to be different in my other self-help books in that it's like more, I want to say like spiritual, and not for people listening spiritual in the sense of like religious at all. Like it's like your own individual spirit and how it like connects with everyone else and the world and the environment. Um and it's just like, who you are like at your core, like outside of like your human body, like if you were to leave your body, like who that soul is. And that's what I really liked about it. I really liked how it was about really being in alignment with who you are, and um like you are your grounding factor. Like the world around you can be chaos, it can be madness, the people around you, but ultimately like you are what grounds yourself in your mindset, your mood, your values. Like you control your reality and your experience. So I really liked his perspective, and doing some research on him. What is his name?
I
Miguel
think
something.
Don Miguel Rodriguez, I
Yeah,
believe.
something like that. So
Allie
yeah,
gave me a
he
nod.
so yeah, he
Uh,
like had this near death experience. He was in a car crash, and that's like I think that was shortly before he wrote the book, and he had this out of body experience where he felt his soul like leave his body, and he saved his friends from the car wreck, but he was like watching himself do it. Anyways, it sounds crazy, but he just has such powerful insights into like the world and the dynamics of how we fit into the world and how everyone fits and we make up society and how it all runs and works together. Um, but yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I have not been able to do a lot of reading in the past couple of years just because, like you, I'm just so busy and it's like I almost feel guilty just sitting down and reading a book. But like during my cardio, I have so much freaking cardio that I started reading while I was on the elliptical. And so I busted out that book really quickly. And yeah, I was like, this is so good. And it has so many powerful insights, like very life changing, really, truly. So I think everybody should read it, like you said.
I agree. As I opened with, I bought this book for probably about 30 on Amazon. It tells you you've purchased this like 28 times or whatever. And I have, because I feel like it was a really good gift given to me. And I think part of the reason why it was such a powerful book for me is how it came into my life. So for those of you that are kind of new to my story, we gotta roll this back a little bit, but this came about for me at a time where I was at my lowest point in existence as a human. And I've done some reflecting now, even since I think the last time we talked, Brooke. But this is all coming from my breakup when I was dating someone named Laura back in 2022. Breakup kind of came out of, looking back, I can see the reasons and I can see where it came from. But at the time, I was blindsided, and that really hurt. The most pain I've ever been in my entire life. I, I I almost want to like preface this with like, Dad, I'm sorry, but more so than losing my own dad. And like, I had a good dad. So like, the thing that I think now looking back on it is I lost my sense of self, my sense of identity by losing that relationship. And that was the same person that told me, have the best day ever every day. And so I didn't know how I was going to have the best day ever. And I really didn't really get the meaning while she was trying to tell me, but she broke up with me. And 4 days later, the person whose handwriting this is in, named Alyssa, came into my life. And I hope that maybe one day she's listening to this, but we're not very close friends anymore, just because she's off doing her own thing and I'm kind of doing mine. I think people come into your life for a reason, season, lifetime. I think she might have just been a season, but part of her season was I was so fucked up that I would just try and go hang out with her some to get my mind off of this breakup. And she was in prep. And so um fully just friends, nothing romantic whatsoever, but just somebody who kind of understood some things about my life. She also worked at one of my companies, but anyways, getting long-winded. She offered me the first day I came over, oh hey, my dad gave me this book and I've never read it. I don't think I'm going to read it, do you want it? And it was in my hand, it was like in my hand, and I was like, I don't read books. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I was like, this is a chance for me to change. Maybe this is here for a reason. Maybe I can just be better. I said, you know what? Give me the book. Let me check it out. So I read the book and it smacked me in the face. And I felt like it made so much clear. And I was still really dealing with the pain of losing Laura. And I knew she was dealing with the pain of ending the relationship with me. So I sent her the book. She read it in one day, told me that she felt like it helped clear up a lot of things in her life. And then I think I sent it to you next, because we had started talking a good bit more, becoming friends around that time, and it just really helped me frame some of the things I was going through, and helped me learn how to be a better person for myself, but also for the world in general. And so I think it will be important for us to kind of touch on each of the four agreements. The
Yeah.
spiritual side at the beginning, I think you can take it either way. When I first read it, part of the relationship ending was due to religious differences, and I'm not very religious, so that part I was like, ew, I don't really like this. I don't like the spiritual stuff. I'm gonna just kind of get through this. So if you're like younger me, just get through it. Get to the agreement sections. But if you're more open-minded, I think there's a lot of ways we can look at the spiritual stuff. I've heard that the drug DMT is naturally produced in our brains when we die or have a near death experience. So if you've ever done DMT, I imagine that's probably what Miguel was going through when he imagined himself out of his body. And maybe he did leave his body. Maybe he didn't. But it doesn't really matter because the lessons that he learned are still the same, and you can still take the value from those either way. So, all of that to preface, I think we can go into the agreements, but the book really changed my life. And I now, whenever I give it to somebody, I write "Have the best day ever" in the cover, and I tell them that they can't keep it. Once they finish it, they have to give it to somebody else. If you want another copy, it's $7 on Amazon. Go get it.
Yeah, I gave mine
But
to
yeah.
Steve because he really needs it.
Awesome. See, it's like, it's a great gift that you can keep giving. And if you're worried about who you could give it to, you could read it to someone. You could read it to a 4-year-old and they would understand.
Yeah, it's a
Understanding
simple
the
read.
book,
Yeah.
simple read. Understanding, very easy. Implement, it's kind of like squat. Pretty easy to do. You just sit your butt down, you stand back up. Squat with 1,000 pounds. A lot harder. It's still a very simple thing, but it's just hard. And that's, I think, what this book is. It's simple lessons. Anyone can understand it. Takes a lot of work to implement them. So I have them memorized. Do you have them memorized yet?
I don't have them memorized in order, so I pulled them up.
Perfect.
But yeah, you want to do the first agreement?
I believe agreement number 1 is be impeccable with your word.
You got it. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't have it with me, but my mom bought me a poster that I normally put in the kitchen. It has the 4 agreements listed out with a whole paragraph explaining them. But yeah, be impeccable with your words. So I know what this means for me, and I've talked a lot. So Brooke, what does it mean for you after reading the book? Like, how do you interpret it? Your own take.
So, I kind of take this in a couple of ways, and I do feel like in one way I'm really strong with being impeccable with my word, and then in other ways I do have a lot of improvements to make. Like, I do think that I always keep promises to myself. Like anytime I tell myself I'm going to do something, I always follow through. I never quit. I never give up. I am not that person. So when I say, I'm going to do this by this time, I do it. And I'm very good about that. Now, I also found it interesting that he describes being impeccable with your word, and also like how you speak about other people, how you speak about yourself, it's also just about like the words and the tonality and the diction that you choose to use. Like, is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? And I do feel like there are times that I could improve there. I do feel like sometimes I'm very hard on myself, and being impeccable with your word. Well, it also, it lumps into some of the other agreements, which we'll get into later, but it being impeccable with your word would also mean just having integrity with like what you're saying to yourself, and being compassionate towards yourself and towards others. So, like no gossiping, or talking poorly about maybe something you did, a mistake you made, calling yourself stupid or an idiot or anything like that. So, I think that's an area that I could improve on, but those are kind of my 2 viewpoints on being impeccable with your word. One is like following through on the commitments that you make to yourself. Like if there's no other option, it's a non-negotiable. Like you either move forward or, well, there is no other option. You just move forward. There's no going back or staying the same. And then also being mindful about how you choose to speak about the world around you, yourself, and others, and like the terms that you use, and being very careful and trying to use words that are, positive and uplifting and are going to make you feel better and make you stronger and make you a better person. What are yours?
No, that's great. I want to reply. I think one of the reasons, not the only, but a big part of the reason you are so successful, and I would deem you as a successful person, a successful business owner, a successful human being, a very successful friend in my book, is because of you stick to your word. If you tell yourself, and of course there's room to change things. If you go into a relationship, I've said that I'll be with you forever, and that didn't work out. Like that happens, but more so of you stick to what you set out to do. Like you said, you're going to get on stage, or you say you're going to do this with the academy, or this with your business, or this with your friendships, or really, and you do it. There's a lot of people that talk and they get this like serotonin boost of talking about going out and setting this PR or building this business or doing this at the gym, and they talk and they get fired up, and then that's their dopamine hit and they're done. I've learned that it's good to talk. It's good to, like, for me, putting it on Instagram, like if I'm like, hey, I'm cutting, and then you see me eating a cake 5 minutes later, it's like, all right, what's he doing? For me, that's a way of holding myself accountable. But in general, I've seen you do this, Brooke, and I think most other successful people, they talk a little bit and then they let the rest of their actions finish the speech for them. So I see that in you. I also think it's extremely important to talk to ourselves in a kind manner. That's one thing I love about Allie. I think early on, she spilled something on the floor, did something, and most people would be like, "Oh my god, I'm so stupid," and she goes, "I'm so silly, ha ha ha," as she's cleaning it up, and I'm like, "Man, if you could laugh every time you made a mess on accident instead of screaming or crying or yeah, that used to be me. I'd like punch the fridge or something if I dropped my food. Like if I could just laugh it off, like, guess the universe didn't want me to eat that meal. I got a whole fridge full of other shit to make. Much better way of viewing life. So for me, being impeccable with my word means all those things. And I think the area that I'm working on most, and I think this is something that people could do as they read this book, is kind of like think about where do they want to focus their effort on, because you can't fix everything at once. So for me, being very honest with people, like, hey, do you want to hang out? Or I've had people on Instagram, really kind offers. Hey, I'm going to be in town. I've followed you for years. I'd love to buy you lunch at your favorite restaurant. And younger me would have been like, oh, yeah, cool. Let's hang out. Let me know. And then I'm like, I'm not going to hang out with that person. I don't have time. Now I'll be like, hey, I would sincerely love to meet you. I really appreciate all that you've done for me over the years following me. And to be honest, I would love some food. The issues that I'm facing right now is I have a food calendar. And I'm already booked up with restaurants for the next 3 weeks. And to be honest with you, I usually only go out to eat to promote restaurants, not just to feed myself. And right now, I'm so booked with clients that if I were to take time away from them, I would financially need to get compensated for this meeting. So if that's something you really want to do, let me know and we can try to make it work. If not, I'm just going to have to really graciously pass and say, that's a great offer. Please treat yourself. It's a great restaurant. Like something like that. I'll try to really let them know where I'm coming from. Not just be like, dude, you're not worth my time. But
Yeah.
like my time is so valuable and I'm spread so thin. I can't really take away from the other people I've promised my time to. But if it's really worth it to you and we can find a way to make it work, I'll try to slide my schedule around. Like those kind of things. And I've had to do that a few times now. And at first I felt so guilty. Like this person wanted to buy me lunch and I just basically told them no. And it made me feel bad. But I think part of being impeccable with your word is being honest. And I choose to live this life. I choose to live this extremely busy life because it's what makes me feel good about myself. And I realize that part of what I have to do is let other people down at times. And that's the choice I make. I'm not the best partner for Allie. My little sister started dating this guy, and he is like A plus 100% best boyfriend in the world material. He's making me look bad. But I'm not trying to settle down and have a family and do those types of like slow weekends and go to the beach every other weekend and grow a family, help raise kids together. Like that's not the life I'm trying to live. I'm trying to grow a vegan empire so we can help save the world. And Allie, I think, is aligned with that mission. And if she changes her mind, then that's a hard topic I don't really want to go down, but like I would want her to be happy too. But this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm going to position myself. And sometimes I got to let people down to do that. Anyways, I know we got a guest coming on soon, so I'm going to roll a little bit faster. But that's why I'd be impeccable. I believe agreement number 2 is don't take anything personally.
Yes, you got it.
Okay.
That's my
All right.
favorite one.
Yes. How does that affect you, or what did you get from it when you read it?
Yeah, that people's actions, and even if they say something really hateful and what may be interpreted as personal, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And I find a lot of freedom in that agreement. Don't take anything personally. It's just like, when I think about it like that, it's just like, whew, like a big weight off my shoulders, you know? And it's when you think about it from that perspective, that mostly people are projecting things onto you, it just gives you a lot of peace and freedom. And there's no responsibility, there's no pressure to make it right, to prove yourself. You know, you are just being you. And if you're being impeccable with your word, then, you know, you're not doing anything wrong, and you're just being true to yourself and honoring yourself. And anyone who goes against that, that is their issue that they need to deal with. But that is by far my favorite one, and that chapter was so good. There were so many good little gems in that one.
Yeah, I think the way the agreements are styled is like you get the agreement right off the bat, and then he takes a number of pages to try and drill it home with examples, and so that's why I feel like it's such a practical book for people. Don't take anything personally. I'm trying to think the last time that this really happened to me. Um, I don't know. I don't have a concrete example, but like maybe to give somebody like an idea, like even let's say your parent is like, you know, said something really mean to you, like, "I don't love you," or "You're not a very good child," or something like that, like, whew, that's a lot to hear, that's hard to hear, and why would a parent say that to their child? And I think you almost need to, like, detach yourself from the situation, from the possible immediate reaction that you might have, and ask, like, "Okay, logically, is this person trying to help me? Or are they trying to bring me down? Like, what is their intent?" If Allie tells me something like, "Oh my god, you made such a huge fucking mess over the counter," and it's she doesn't talk like that, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to make a concrete example. I don't have one, but yeah, like if Allie complained, it was like, "Why are you so messy? Like the counters are so dirty. Like, oh, this is so frustrating." And like I could take that as, oh, she just called me a messy person. Like, oh, I'm gonna get angry at this. And I think in like interpersonal relationships, you could be like, well, what's she really trying to get at? Like maybe she needs the counters clean for her space. Then again, I guess this doesn't really work ain't quite in that. You know what? Here, this is where it works with trolls. People will be like, "Oh, you're not even saving animals. Oh, vegans are even worse for the environment." And it's like they don't want to change. They don't want to open their eyes or their hearts, so they're going to try and shut down people that are doing that. You'll see this a lot too with like family members. If you go on a weight loss journey, they're like, "Oh, you could just have one piece of cake," or "Oh, you could still come out and eat with us." And like maybe they're trying to be inclusive, but also maybe they're trying to not feel so bad about the things that they're doing and that they're not on their own journey. Or they'll say something like, "You'll never actually lose that weight." And yeah, it's because they know they won't. So there's a lot of projection with that one. But yeah, don't take anything personally because it is just a reflection of someone else. I think another one, like I used to get bullied all the time as a kid. And it's like, why did that happen? Like, was I really that ugly, or was I really that annoying, or did I deserve to be treated that way, beat up because I'm smaller? Like, no, it was whatever those kids were going through. And I think the biggest thing here, if you're a hugely empathetic person, you need to be very careful. You can understand why someone abuses you, and you can be empathetic, like, oh, their parents abused them, so that's why they're abusing me. But that doesn't make it okay. So if you're dealing with abuse or attacks, understand that that's that other person's problem, but it's also your responsibility to remove yourself from that situation. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Moving right along. Number 3. I forgot this one, but I was thinking about it, and it was don't make assumptions. Correct?
Yes, you got it.
Right.
I
Very nice.
love
All
that
right.
one too, because I feel like that's an easy one to fall into. And
Yeah.
there is so, and when you really think about it, and the book really opened my eyes to this, like almost all of the conflict we have with people is because we make assumptions and we just don't communicate very clearly and bluntly. And I think like your example of just like telling people straight up, like, hey, I just don't have the time. I think that's a good example in this case, because let's say you weren't honest and you weren't impeccable with your word and you just said, yeah, sure, like let's meet up, like maybe one weekend this month, and then this person kept asking and you just kept putting it off, putting it off instead of just being honest, that person might assume that you don't like them, or you don't want to hang out with them, or whatever. Their mind could go a million miles a minute and assume anything.
Yeah.
But by you being honest and just communicating very clearly and saying, hey, I would love to do this, I just am absolutely strapped for time, it is what it is. It eliminates all of that. And especially like with relationships, and I think about my college degree in psychology and learning the 7 defense mechanisms from Sigmund Freud. And all of those defense mechanisms are things that people do, and it just like totally like disrupts like clear communication, because we're all just trying to like defend and protect ourselves with like projection, or like being passive aggressive, like all sorts of different things. And if we just like communicate clearly, don't make assumptions, just be very blunt and honest, then it would resolve so much conflict and it would make things so much easier.
I agree, especially like in relationships. Sometimes Allie will say something and I'll be like, what was that? Like, are you trying to hurt my feelings? And she'll be like, what? No, not at all. I just said this. And I'm like, but that made me feel this way. And she's like, well, why are you taking it that way? I was just talking about the car. Like, I don't. And I'm like, oh, I completely misread this. And I probably have my own insecurities. And so when this was said, I like jumped to worst case scenario, didn't clarify. I think the best way to avoid assuming is to clarify. The book gives a great example. It's like if you're in the park, and like this has happened to me, where like let's say I'm in the park and a very, I'll just say it, attractive woman is like, oh, waving at me, and I'm like, ah, I got a girlfriend, I can't do this. I'm like, eh. And then I realized she's like waving at her best friend behind me, and I'm like, wow, I just assumed I'm so special. She was waving at me. Or somebody's like, fuck you, and you're like, what the hell is their problem? And then they realize they're yelling at their significant other they shouldn't be yelling at on the other side. Like you don't know until you clarify. So if somebody says or does something at you or towards you, you might completely misread the situation, especially if you have any insecurities or um, for me, I mean, I don't really like being, I'm a bit more of an introvert. So when somebody waves at me, I get a little bit like, oh no, what are they waving at me for? And usually they're not actually waving at me. They're waving at their friend or something. So very easy to just assume things without getting that clarification, and it will drive you crazy. I think this for me, like dating back in the day, like people would say things and I'd be like, so are we going on another date, or are we not hanging out, or did I upset you because like you seem short today? And like, oh, like yeah, like with Allie, like there'd be some days where we didn't talk that much. Like, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah, I've just had like this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing, and so like I've been really 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 busy. And I'm like, oh, I just assumed I said something that upset you in my last message. What? No, you're fine. And it's like, oh, I've just been over here assuming. So yeah, don't
Yes.
assume.
Another one that will give you a lot of personal freedom and clear up a lot of just rummage going on in your head. It makes me think, recently I had a friend at the gym. She messaged me on Instagram and she's like, hey, I keep seeing you at the gym and I try to get your attention, but you won't look at me. And like, truthfully, I just am so tired, so depleted that I'm like, I have got to like focus 100% on this set, or like, I'm not going to get through it. Like, I can't talk to anyone. Like, normally I'm a chatty patty at the gym, and I just like, I know I'm not going to get through my workout if I do that. So I just like dial in. And but she assumed that like I was
Yeah.
mad at her or like something happened. I'm like, girl, no, I'm hungry and I'm tired and I'm in prep, but I promise we're good. I'll catch you in the bathroom and say hey or something like that. So yeah, don't make
Yeah.
assumptions.
I think it's always worth it to clarify, like, oh my God, Brooke, like you haven't talked to me in 2 weeks. Like, are you upset with me? And it's gonna go one of two ways. Like, no, I'm in prep. I'm dying over here, but I promise we'll talk soon. Oh, okay. Or no, I just don't really like you. Like you give off a weird vibe and I don't want to be friends with you. It's like, oh well, my assumptions were correct, and now I don't have to worry about this anymore. I know. It just gives clarity. So anywho, we gotta speed up here. Last one. I think they're all important. I feel like this one might be the easiest one. It's number 4. I know this one. Always do your best. And
Yes.
I'll let you give your interpretation, Brooke, and then I'll give mine.
Yeah, I love this one because, it's really about doing your best in any given moment and how that's going to look different from moment to moment, and how it also brings all of the agreements all together, because you're not always going to never make assumptions. You're not always going to never take anything personally. You're not always going to be impeccable with your word, but you're always doing your best. So it just kind of like brings everything together full circle. And again, just gives you that like personal freedom that it's okay. I release any self-judgment, any regret, animosity, because I am just doing my best at this given moment. And I love that one.
Yeah, your best will be different on each day. And so I think this one kind of helps with the mindset of, even on a hard day, maybe you can only give 10% of what your best is, and just give 10%. Like, don't throw it all away. Don't throw the whole thing out if you're not at what your normal best is, and this too shall pass. You'll be back there. I think there was probably more to that in the book, but it's been a couple of years since I've read it. But yeah, it just kind of ties them all in together. And maybe one day you weren't impeccable with your word. Do your best, and tomorrow is a new day, and you can improve. And again, this book, if I had a 5-year-old, I was going to say son or daughter, child, whatever, I would read this book to them. Like, they could understand it. Implementing it, not so easy. But I think if we started practicing at a young age, it'd make things a little bit easier. But late is better than never. And yeah, so 4 agreements. I'm glad I sent it to you, Brooke. And you know what's so funny? The universe is just such an interesting creature. I don't know if it's a creature, but had you read that book the day I sent it to you, we wouldn't have had this podcast, and maybe it wouldn't have reached as many people. Because also, thank you, listeners. We are month over month destroying the numbers. So keep listening, keep sharing, keep this going. But it's just funny how it plays out, and it kind of brings it back into the forefront of my mind. And maybe somebody will reach out and take me out and take me up on the offer of letting me buy them a book. And now Steve will get it. Like, if you had read it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Steve wouldn't be reading it now. So
Right.
it's just beautiful. So
Yeah.
thank you for reading it. Thank you for reading it when you did. And I'm glad that we can both take these with us. All right, we are at time. Real quick, support the podcast. If you guys go to Veg, make sure you could use code Vegans2Lift. Save on your protein and help support us. And then if you guys want some green bites and the best discount ever on green bites, you can use code #Vegans2Lift with them. That also helps support the podcast, because we don't get to charge you guys for this. We just ask you, please support our sponsors. So anything else, Brooke, before we roll on out of here?
So yeah, again, thanks, listeners. You are absolutely killing it. We are knocking records out each month, and thanks for all your support, guys.
Yeah, I will wish everybody to have the best day ever. I will see y'all next time.